record this session. And then you can watch this recording on YouTube for the replay. So thank you again for coming. Monmouth County Workforce Development Office. I am pleased to host Marty Latman. Now, if you don't know Marty Latman, Marty is the godfather of networking. He is the king. He knows networking. He is the man. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? Like, this is huge, okay? So definitely take advantage of listening to what Marty's saying. Watch the replay, take some notes. Marty is a financial executive by trade. However, he has children. He has lots of different groups that he started, including the FENG group up north, which is the financial services group. He's done it all. He knows a lot of people. He can connect you. Definitely talk to him. Reach out to Marty. Reach out to other people on the call that are being supportive of you, of networking, and helping us all land. Whether you're in transition, whether you are kind of passive looking just in case, or whether you have no idea what you want to be when you grow up. Either way, Marty is going to help you get there. So take it away, Marty. I appreciate you coming and sharing your message with us.
Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. The question is, could I get my head in the screen now after that introduction? I'm not sure yet, but welcome everybody. Happy holidays. A couple of things before we start. Everyone on this phone, on this meeting, just remember this: you will all land. Everybody lands. It's just a question of when. Okay, so hopefully the presentation that I have will encourage you further to pursue your ambition of landing, and hopefully you'll all land before the new year. As I was telling Christine earlier, yesterday I received a note from an individual in one of my groups. Just want to tell me that he just landed a new position. He's been with my group since 2008, and he's indicated, he says, well, you know, I found this position within 2 weeks. I landed a lot different than 2008. And when he was in 2008, it took him almost a year to land. So it's a hot market. Now's the time. And what I'll do right now, we'll start in talking. What you can do during this presentation, this is your time, everyone. And if you have any questions, either put it in the chat or just shout it out. I'm here to help you. And these are the items we'll talk about. Talk about what I consider the holiday myths, what exists today. And then we'll talk about really the realities of what goes on during this time. Ways to connect. We'll talk about ways to connect virtually. A lot of people have told me, well, you know, we're in this COVID environment, we really can't connect with people. You know, it's hurt my networking. I can't, you know, talk to people. I really cannot network. Well, that's a bunch of nonsense. And we'll go through what you have to do. We'll give you some networking tips, some tools that you will need as you go through this. And most of them you probably have, but it's just a reminder of what we really need. And then we'll just wrap it up and we'll just recap it. As I say, this is your time. So sit back, pay some attention to what I have to say. Don't fall asleep, I hope. And we'll take it from there. Let's talk about the myths, okay? A lot of people, you know, during this period of time, and this generally is between Thanksgiving and the New Year. And what people think at this time is the following: that this is the worst time to find a position, okay? And what they say is that nobody's around, okay? Most executives aren't hiring. They're not around right now. And they say that, you know, people are thinking, you know, the holidays and the year-end vacation. They're not thinking about hiring people, okay? So why should I even look? You know, they're not going to hire. I'm going to waste my time. Let me spend time on the holidays and let me, you know, spend time with my family, which is fine. But I'm not going to do my job search at this time because no one's going to hire me. I'm just going to spin my wheels. Okay. And, those hiring people, they're taking the time off right now. So they're not around, companies, if you don't have your vacation, you don't take it, you lose it. Well, that's what a lot of people are thinking. But this is the reality of what it is. Issues relating to hiring for New Year are now set in place. Okay. There's a lot of reduction of any business travel that was taking place. Although it was limited already this year, it is further limited that the executives are available today to interview people. At the same time, the people who are not there are generally the support staff. We'll call them the gatekeepers. These are the people who are taking their vacation because for these individuals, most companies' policies are, when it comes to vacation, use it or lose it by the end of the year. So the support staff is saying, I have this time. I might as well take it now. And they're not around. Well, if the gatekeepers aren't around, who's around to answer the phones? Who's around to talk to the people?
I think we were just talking about this, Marty. How funny. Like everyone here in my workplace is kind of, in that vacation mode, but they're here. And some people are not here because they are those gatekeepers that need to use vacations. So if you're trying to get hired, that is definitely a very valid point, Marty.
Thank you. It's really, the situation where you could really have access to the hiring people right away. And it doesn't take, 8 interviews now to get a position. At the same time, at this time of the year, the budgets for the new year are already set.
Yes.
Okay. And really executives, they want to start the year with a full staff because it's already in budget. At the same time, the current year budget, there may be funds still available in the current year budget that they haven't used, and they look at it and say, well, if I hire somebody today, I have 2 weeks to train that individual, and it's going to be on the current year's expenses, and so it's not going to affect my budget next year. So why not hire now? Okay. And at the same time, and this is really important, a lot of people believe in the myth that we talked about, that nobody's hiring. So they're not searching. They're taking a back seat. So it's the old, put the pedal to the metal. Okay, now is the time. There is less competition. You get out there and you could be recognized and you could be the one getting that position at the moment. And really, this time of year, now, especially as we, try to come out of COVID, okay, people are generally in a pretty good mood today. All right. You got the holidays, you have people now, seeing family, and it's really, really good. Business, if you look at the market, extremely active. We talked about the great resignation, so to speak. Well, companies are having a hard time hiring people because they said that, people aren't available, people aren't around. Well, it could be you. Get out there now. Now is the time for them to hire you. Ways to connect during a holiday. I want to just say what I'm going to talk about. It's not only, in person, it's also virtual. You could do these things. You could have a virtual, or I'll call it a live, social drink with, some of your old bosses, your current and your old friends, your current and former colleagues. Okay. It's a great time to get together. You could send cards to people. You could send e-cards, which is really very simple in today's environment. And you could also send emails to people, just wishing them a happy holiday. Okay. And at the same time, you could update them, as to what your current status is. And you ask them what's happening on their life. This time is great time to connect with people. And really, when you look at it, it is an easy time to connect with people. I've had people tell me before, I haven't spoken to this person in, 6 months. I haven't spoken to this person in a year or 2 years. How am I supposed to connect with these people? Well, right now, it's a great time. Send them a holiday greeting and add to it, it's been a while. Let's catch up. Let's have a conversation. So it's really easy, and you could do it now, right? At the same time, what I suggest you do is send, I'll call them gratitude emails for those who've helped you during the year and who you network with. Okay. They'll appreciate it. And they'll also, you could update them during these, emails to them, let them know what your current status is. I've been close in landing, but it just hasn't happened yet. I'm still in the market and this is what I'm doing. So give them an update, but thank them for the help during the year. They really appreciate it when they receive someone acknowledge that I've helped you and you're thanking me. Great. It's a win-win situation. Why not send emails or cards, e-cards to people who you interviewed with, and containing the holiday greeting, expressing desire to work at the company. All right. And how
Holidays
about,
are great excuse to reach out to people just to say happy holidays. No matter what holiday you celebrate or holiday they celebrate, you have an excuse, which is awesome because a lot of people don't know how to start a email or how to start reaching out to people. This is a wonderful opportunity to touch base with people that you have interviewed with or want to interview with. Just like Marty said, posting and tagging them or whatever it happens to be, letting them know that you're thinking about them.
it's great time, Christine. It's great
Yes.
time. At the same time, this one here, very few people do.
Mhm.
And I really strongly suggest you do that. Send an e-card or an email to those companies who passed on you. Okay. And you might want to say, well, I passed on me. Why should I do that? Well, number one, you're taking the high road. Okay. To, thank them for, interviewing you during the year. And at the same time, you're getting your name back in front of them. And the people who they hired may not have turned out to be what they expected. And so they might not be, 100% pleased with the individuals who they did hire, who they, hired instead of you. And now they're getting a second look at you, and let them know that you're still interested.
Can
So
I
thank
make
them.
another suggestion, Marty? I think those are two very valid points. But an e-card is a relatively, I don't know, new technology from the past 7 years or so. And being able to send an e-card is huge to demonstrate your upkeep on your skills, your hard skills, and let them know that you've done that.
No, there's, the pluses and minuses to this, and I agree with you. It shows that you're up to date in technology. At the same time, if you send a regular card, hard copy,
Mhm.
there's a plus to that because
Yes.
it stays on somebody's desk and it's always in front of them.
Yes.
So you could do either one. Okay. The main thing is to connect with these people. And that's what really helps people land at this time. Okay. And what you can do when it comes to networking right now, take a look at LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, but people who you want to send greetings to. You may not know them, but now's a great opportunity to wish them a happy holiday. And at the same time, connect with them for the first time. All right. Everyone's open today because of the holiday season. Everyone's in a joyous time. They're all in a good mood. It's a great opportunity to connect with people, not only from a business standpoint, but just from a personal standpoint, to, wish them a happy holiday. Okay. And if you want, okay, this is a little technique that happens. You can send a little holiday gift to those people who helped you during the year. Okay. You really, if you've received the gift and you've helped somebody, what a big impact this is. I mean, a number of years back, an individual came in to see me, and he came into my office, and he was telling me that he was a single parent. He was looking for a position actually in recruiting. And he just wanted to say hello to me because he heard that I know a lot of people. He wanted to meet me, et cetera, et cetera. We had a nice little chat. I contacted a couple of my friends in the recruiting business. They ended up interviewing him. He landed one position. And when it came around the holidays, he sent me a little book, which I still have today. And it really means a lot when you see that. And it really, I've been talking to him over the last years, and we're really good friends as a result of it. So it's these little things that make a difference. And the other piece, this is a great time to volunteer and help others. When you volunteer, there's definitely no gatekeepers. People are generally there for the same mission. It's more of a relaxed atmosphere, and people get to see you and get to know you. And this is how you build relationships. And you'll be surprised from volunteering what that could lead to. And it doesn't necessarily mean that when you're volunteering, that you're looking for a position within that organization that you're volunteering from. There are other people who volunteer who may be in other industries, okay, which may be the industry you're looking for, and they are available, and you get to talk to them, and they might say, hey, look, I like what you're doing. Why don't you come to my office? We could have a chat. Things like that. This is a great opportunity today to connect.
I bet some people on this call personally volunteer for that reason, to feel good, to help others, and to network.
It's great. It's a great situation. I mean, Christine does a great job where she is right now. She helps a lot of people. I've been involved with networking groups since the 1990s. And through the work that I have done in helping people, I've helped over 1,600 people land. And when you look at that, you know how you help change their lives. It's a really great feeling. And when people thank me for my help, that's just, I can't ask for anything else. It's a great feeling. So, volunteer, help other people, reach out. It really makes a difference. In today's environment, people say, well, virtually, what could I do? Well, there's a bunch of things you could do to have some fun. You could work and set up times and coordinate deliveries for the following. How about a virtual wine tasting party? How about a virtual food tasting party? You could have virtual classes, cooking classes. How about this one right now?
Okay, I've participated in all of those, Marty. Does that make me a foodie, winey, cooking person? I don't know.
It makes you one who's having a good time. How about that?
I've had a great time. So thank you for the people that are setting those things up. So yay!
It's really, it's simple. You get to meet people.
Yes.
You get to learn. Okay. They have companies now, some of the wine companies, they have really perfected, and
Yes,
to coordinate these virtual wine tasting parties.
yes,
Okay, and they'll deliver to your house the information. You got wine and cheese, etc., and you all get on the, Zoom together or whatever platform. It's really, really good. Gift wrapping, it's that season. Okay, and I know, there's a lot of people who are, they have a lot of thumbs over there to try to wrap things, but you'd be surprised how, a little class can help you
yes,
really be perfected. So think about some of these things to possibly do. You got the virtual games, you can play trivia. You could also have scavenger hunts virtually, virtual dinners with people. Okay. Virtual coffee or tea, whatever you want. Okay. Um, this over here happens all the time today. Okay. I have some people, what they've done is that they created a little coffee club where every morning, those who are in search, they get together like 8 o'clock in the morning on Zoom and just have their cup of coffee and talk about their strategies and what's going on. So all
yes.
these things here, when you sit back and think about it, think what you used to do in person, and then think about it. Well, why couldn't I do it virtually? And you will find most of the time you can do it virtually. So think about it. It gives you a great opportunity to stay connected with people and to really network with people.
If you wanted to work your way into doing something like that, maybe as a participant before you organize something like that, how would you get involved? How would you know that these things even exist if you're not in the know for wine tasting or food tasting or virtual coffee, that kind of thing? How do you find out?
Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. Number one, speak to your friends. Okay, network with your friends. And then I think the biggest friend of everybody today is Google. And just do a nice little Google search. Okay. And the Google search would, virtual networking groups. Okay. Virtual coffee meetings. And you'll be surprised. You got meetups. You sign up for meetups, you have a bunch of those too. There are a lot of different areas where you can find out what's going on. Look at the threads that you have in, Twitter or LinkedIn or, what's going on in Facebook. I was looking at it this morning, my LinkedIn feed, and in doing that, there was a whole article that people were talking about things that they do together during the holidays. So don't be shy about it. Talk to different people and look things up through Google. You'll find a lot of information, all right, that will help you connect with other people.
The other thing, Marty, is I was very interested that I signed up for something on Meetup as well as through Eventbrite. And now Eventbrite sends me all this stuff. Well, you attended blah, blah, blah. So you might be interested in this thing as well because they're connected in some way, shape, or form or subject matter. So it's giving you ideas of different events that are going on because you went to one thing.
Very true, Christine. AI is being used by a lot of platforms.
Yes.
And what happens is you start going into one or two different things, AI then picks it up and suggests other areas where you could, participate in or get to know about different information, etc. So the more you do it, the more that you will be exposed to. At the same time, if you go out to LinkedIn, look up the LinkedIn groups. Okay, they have specific groups for different areas, and you'd be surprised how many groups they have, and you can participate in that. You have the Facebook groups. There's a lot of things available today that you don't have to do, I'll call it in live mode. You could do it all virtually. To me, I miss, honestly, the face-to-face, personal live live situations. What I have seen is that some organizations have started doing some live meetings But still, it just seems that every time we feel we are finished with this COVID pandemic, some other variant comes in and slows it down, which then, sets you back a little. But you have other alternatives from the live in the virtual the virtual world. And as you say, you could go into one group, start in participating in it, and it then could lead to another based upon the algorithm that some of these platforms have.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I would strongly suggest, Meetup is a good area to go into. It's a lot of fun too, to meet different people. You go out on Instagram, find out some things going on out over there. It's a great time. It's a great time to network. Over here, the thing what you have to consider though, as you go through all of this situation, especially when you have virtual events, you got to be selective. You could be on the computer all day. All right.
Is that why you have to be selective? Otherwise, you're just overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Okay. Let's see. How many people here are zoomed out already? Okay. You have to take a break, but just think about it. There are so many events. As I've said before, even the pandemic took effect, you could network 24/7. All right. There are networking groups that are there every day, including the weekends. There's morning, noon, evenings. Okay. You can meet different people. One place you could look for different networking groups in the New York metro area at the moment, which is being expanded, is My Networking Central. That's www.mynetworkingcentral.com. That's a recent platform. It's about 3 weeks ago it was launched. It has information for job seekers, networking groups, and networking speakers for networking groups. It's a good place to sign up. It's free, and you get a lot of information about different networking groups that will help you out. And at the same time, you get to talk to other people. So, do your schedule, take a look at that, do your networking, but just remember, you have to have a, I'll call it life balance. Okay. And remember your family, you got family times, you got follow-up times. Keep that in mind as you go through and network. If you're going to attend a networking group, the best thing to do is try to find out who will be there. Okay, at some of these meetings, because what happens when you find out who's going to be there, okay, then you could do your research on the people who will be there and see, number one, if any of the people will be in your target companies that you have. If not your target companies, maybe they worked at your target companies in the past. Maybe they work or have worked for competitors of your target companies, and they could give you a lot of information. Maybe they're just what I call the POIs, people of influence. These are the movers and shakers. These are the connectors who could connect you with other people. And what you do, you do your homework on the people who will be attending. And then what you try to do is network with them, have a plan. You want to plan ahead when you attend these meetings. And also in planning ahead is, what will your elevator pitch say? In today's virtual world, the elevator pitch is really the key to the kingdom to a large extent, because you're not meeting with people live. And so they really cannot see you physically and really relate with you physically the way we do in these live events. But in these virtual worlds, your elevator pitch really talks about who you are. And what you want to do is gear your elevator pitch to the participants at the meeting. I'm a big proponent that you should have multiple elevator pitches. Okay. you should have one set of pitches should be for people in your industry or your profession, which then in your pitch, you will talk the language that is spoken in that industry or in that profession. For instance, if you're into finance, and that's mainly my background, and I talk to people in my accounting groups, professional groups, we'll talk about 10Ks, 10Qs, S1s, S8s, Fox, SOX, things like that, which I know everyone here who's not an accountant understands exactly what I said. Okay. But at the same time, if I'm speaking to a group that's not in my industry or profession, and for those who are not on this call who are not accountants, so to speak, what I just said is that in my group, I talk about reports that we generate to evaluate the performance of the organization, how profitable they are, how efficient they are, and basically how they are doing. So in my pitch that you have, there's two types. This is one for your industry or profession, and the other one is for a general audience. And based upon the people who will be at the meeting or the type of meeting you go, you have to adjust your elevator pitch accordingly. So plan ahead on that, okay? Set your goals in attending these meetings of what do you want to accomplish, okay? It's not, well, I just want to go to the meeting. Yeah, why? Why? Well, I just want to show my
Coffee and wine and cook.
face. You know, the situation is that, okay, when you go to these meetings, have a goal in mind. You know, what do you want to accomplish? I want to meet a number of people. I want to find out more information. Okay. What networking's all about, when you look at it, networking to me, it's really, I'm going to say three main things, and that's to get what I call AIR, AIR, advice, information, and referrals. Okay. I
Just
go
like
to
joining
get
the
that.
call today on networking during the holidays, recommended that you take one tip and incorporate it into what you're already doing. Marty has given us a lot of tips so far, and he's not done yet. He's going to give us even more information. So if you can figure out what's one, what's two, what's three, then you can move forward. What is your goal? Well, your goal today is to at least get one tip to move forward. That's exactly what Marty is referring to. So when you go to these networking groups, these networking events, what is your goal? Figure that out before you attend so you know what you're trying to do.
Very, very true, Christine. Thank you very much. Okay. And when you know, on these virtual meetings, all right, dress smart. Okay. It's sad to say when I look at some of the people on these meetings, number one, I feel that I don't really like to look at a black screen. That's number one. You're at a networking event, you know, show up as if it was live. Let people see who you are so we can network. At the same time, when you are on the screen, dress appropriately. You don't need to be in your pajamas, so to speak. And if you're a professional, dress accordingly. You know, it's the old adage, you know, you only get to give a first impression one time. So think about that, and people looking at you on these screens. Dress appropriately. And remember, you're always on stage when you're networking.
Yes.
All right. You're always there to make an impression. Look to connect with new people, okay, who can provide introductions to other people, okay? It's what I call ABC, always be connecting and connected. You always want to be connected to people in your current network. And what I mean by that, you know, speak to them at least on an annual basis. You know, build relationships with these people. Let them know, that you care about them. You want to find out what they're doing, and they can find out what you're doing. At the same time, always be connecting to new people. Expand your sphere of influence, so to speak. Talk to new people. Get to meet new people. Build new relationships. It could lead to other people, and it could lead to different, if you want to call, benefits for you in different positions. You never know what's going to happen. Okay. So reach out. Okay. And when you're on these virtual meetings, you still what I could do, they call it work the room. When I'm in a live meeting, you know, I work the room, so to speak, where I'm going around, I'm talking to everybody, and I really want to get to know everyone. You could do the same thing here on virtual. It's a little more difficult, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you could do it through the online chat. Yeah, start talking to different people and get to know who they're all about.
If you look
If you
at the
have
chat
not,
right now, I've put in instructions, just put your LinkedIn information and what you're looking for so you can connect with other people that are on this networking call. Everyone is interested in learning more about networking, so it might benefit you to learn more about what they already know and exchange ideas and tips as well as what Marty is expressing.
well, the other part at the end of the meeting, make sure you save the chat. When you save the chat, you'll have all the information on the people who are on this call. And then what you can do, you could then network with them and build the relationships with people you don't know.
And I will
As you
send
know.
you the chat as well, so you have it twice.
That's great. Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
And what you also want to do, introduce people in your network to other people. Okay. You never know where it will lead when you help other people. So that's the other piece that I talk about all the time. Always be connecting and connected. It's really important. Tools that you will need during this holiday season, pretty simple. Number one, positive attitude. Okay. That's what I say, that, people do not hire negative people. People do not hire depressed people. If you're having a bad day, don't go to a networking event. Get over it. Okay. People do not want to be by negative people. Okay. Be
I am so
positive.
glad that you said that, Marty, because we all wake up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes, every single one of us. And if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, it might not benefit you to go to that networking meeting. You might want to wait until you can do some positive attitude adjustment, have a couple cups of coffee before you go or before you talk to people, so that you are a little bit more positive than you were when you woke up.
Well, the situation is that, look, going through transition is stressful.
And hard.
It's a stressful job. Okay. And that is a job, looking for another job. Don't think it's not. Okay. And what you have to do when you are looking for a job, you have to be positive. Because if you're negative, you're not going to be hard. It's going to show up in how you speak with people, in your body language. It really shows up. At the same time, remember, you'll all land. So be positive about it. Look at this as a journey. All right. As you go through, you're going to learn a lot of things as you go through this period. You're going to meet a lot of people, hopefully, through this period. And you're going to see different things about yourself. I've always felt that people should go through transition at least once in their career.
I
At least
agree.
once. Because what happens that when you go through transition, you learn about yourself as to your strengths and also things that you have to strengthen. All right. And we're not all perfect. Okay. And it's not only your business skills, it's your soft skills that you have to develop. All right. At the same time, you will then discover as you go through this how to connect with people and how to build relationships. You will also learn about those people who you thought would be able to help you. They cannot, or they will not. And then you'll find people who you didn't even think would be able to help you or want to help you, and they will. So have a positive attitude, everybody. It's really, really important in going through your networks. Well, I'm glad to see it on this. We have people that on their screens have your name and your email or the position that you're looking for on the screen. So people can easily connect with you. You want to have your elevator pitch. And what I say, what you probably should do, I have a file which has my elevator pitch. I tweak it based upon the different meetings that I'm in. But if you take that elevator pitch, copy it and just paste it in the chat, it saves a lot of time. Okay. And it allows you to pay attention to everything else that's going on in the meeting. Let people know your target companies.
So many people don't include that information, and that makes it a little bit hard, especially if somebody is in the chat that works there. They could connect you very easily.
Christine, how many times have you run across where you ask first, well, what companies are you looking for? And they say, well, any company.
Oh.
Doesn't that help you? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said in one of the other bullets, not only what you're looking for, but how do we contact you? Like, is there a phone number, a cell number? Is there an email address? How about a LinkedIn address? You need some method that somebody can connect to you.
Well, if there's one thing you take away from this presentation today, if there's one thing, this is what it should be. You should make it easier for people to be able to help you. Okay. And in doing that, tell them what you're looking for. Be as precise as you can. Let them know the companies that you're looking for, or at least the industry that you're looking for. Okay. Let them know what you can do, what you're most qualified for, what your passion's for. And at the same time, don't ask for a job. Okay. When you ask for a job from a person to help you find the job, you're defeating them. Okay. Because they don't have the jobs necessarily. What you want to do is seek their help. And when you ask for the help, you want to ask for help that they could give you. For instance, you might want to say, Sam, I'm currently in transition. And what I'm doing, I'm looking for a position in ABC company. Now, I know that you know a lot of people in the industry that ABC company is located in. And I know you know a lot of people. Is it possible that you could connect me with one of the people you know who could give me further information about the industry, about the company? By doing that, Sam could do that because you know Sam from his background. Sam's a winner in that he's helped you connect with people. At the same time, you are a winner because you're getting to connect with somebody else in that industry. So you want to create a win-win situation. Take that as opposed to, Sam, I'm in transition. Do you have a job for me? Could you help me find a job? First of all, Sam might be busy doing other things. Sam might not even have any idea about what the job market looks like from his standpoint. So you're going to make Sam on the defensive. Well, if I don't know if I'm going to be able to help this person. If I can't help this person, I'm a failure not being able to help. So you want to make win-win situations. Keep that in mind as you go through this.
That's
Not
a lot
only a
of work,
holiday.
but it's worth it. It's so much work for you as a job seeker to figure all that out, but it is worth it because in the end, it's going to get you the results that you need to be able to move forward as opposed to being ignored.
You know, I help a lot of people and people know that. At the same time, I've received a lot of phone calls where I started talking with people and I asked them, well, how could I help you? And they say, well, I'm looking for a job. And then I said, well, what type of job are you looking for? Any job. Now, when people tell me that, it's really great because I have a job for them. I tell them every time, I have something for you. And they say, really? I said, yeah. I know, McDonald's and Burger King is hiring down the street. Why don't you go in there and ask, fill out an application? And so, well, that's not what I want. But wait a second, you just told me any job. So when you ask, ask specifics as to what you want. Help guide people to help you. Okay. The more focused you are on the help you want, the easier it is for people to help you. So keep that in mind as you go through. What you also want to have, I'll call it a marketing plan. And this I consider as a one-page document, which combines your history, and also your future. What I mean by that, the first part of it is really, you want to call it your professional profile up on the top. It tells you what you're all about, maybe where you worked, in summary, what what you're doing. Then you might have a section on your core competencies. And then you have a section of all your target companies. And I would suggest you arrange your target companies either in alphabetical order or industry order. And you could give this to people to look at instead of your resume. If you're looking to, for referrals or for information on companies or connections, it's very easy for someone to look at a one-page document with even 50 companies and scan that, within, 15 seconds. I know somebody in this company, no, but I know somebody in the competitor, et cetera, et cetera. One-page document, very powerful. It's good to leave behind. It's a good one to give in lieu of your resume to people who could help you.
So let me ask you, Marty, we talked about networking during the holidays. And we've talked about all the different things that we could incorporate while we're networking, from emails to thank yous to reaching out. But when say you're going to a networking event tonight, it's Tuesday night. We have a week and a half before Christmas, so to speak. Do they need to have all the stuff that you're saying? Like, what if they haven't done a marketing plan? Do they need to rush that marketing plan so they have it ready to go for their meeting tonight? Or what's the bare minimum that they would need?
Well, look, these are documents, like your resume and your LinkedIn profile that you want to have in your toolbox. Okay. You don't have to rush in doing it, okay? But you should be doing it. You should think strategically on what you want to present. Okay, your target companies, you want to think things out. If you don't have it right now, that shouldn't prevent you from going to, let's say, Job Seekers of Montclair, which is meeting tonight at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. You can look that up when they meet tonight. So go to the meeting, okay? Come with your elevator pitch, okay? So you want to be able to talk about yourself. The other documents, if you do not have, Well, work on developing them now. Okay. You don't have to have them now per se. Don't let it prevent you from going to a meeting. But
That's exactly the point. Just because you don't have it, well, I can't go network because I don't have a marketing plan. I don't, I don't necessarily think that that is the case. And just like you just said, Marty, like you're constantly reworking it. You're constantly improving and changing and taking things off and putting things on and seeing what's working for you. But at the very least, you want to have that positive attitude, as you mentioned, and you want to have your name and email, whether it's on your screen or on your resume or wherever, so that people can touch base with you. That's definitely a step in the right direction.
well, sure it is. I mean,
Yeah,
but eventually you're going to have these documents. and put them together.
absolutely.
At the same time, which we haven't really discussed, another thing, as we started going back to live meetings, and hopefully we're going to have more and more of them, and hopefully we get rid of this variant that we have with somewhat back to normalcy. I suggest everyone start working on their personal business cards. Okay. Now's a good time to start working on them, to decide, what's the design you want to have, what information you want to have on your card. And when I give out my business cards, my personal business cards, I have front and back. On the back, I have a summary of what I'm all about. I have, like 5 different bullets of what I do. And then the front of the card, it's your name, your contact information, a little saying of what I'm about real quick, tagline, whatever you want to call it. But you should have those, because those are still, when you go into the live meetings, it's really important to be able to exchange information, because when you go to these live meetings, what you want to end up doing is have more meetings outside of that meeting with people to get them to know you, so you could get to know them. Okay. So another piece of the pie puzzle. And what you want to do in the holidays, okay, whatever you do, you will need follow-up time. Okay. Don't just say, I met this person for 5 minutes. Thank you very much. It was a great meeting. And then you forget about it. Follow up. Okay. When I take the word networking, and if you parse that word, there's a word that says working in networking. You have to work at networking to make it successful. And part of the work in networking is follow-up. It's building relationships. So you always need time for follow-up.
What if you're an introvert? I mean, what do you do with that? You're not an actor. You're not used to talking to people. I mean, that's me. I'm a wallflower. I like to be on the wall. So what do you recommend for something like that?
Are you telling me that you are an introvert?
Yes, I am.
So,
Because it's
well, look,
sometimes it's just me and this little camera. But yeah, I'm typically a wallflower. I don't talk to people. What do I do with that?
Look, I'm an introvert. Okay.
See, I would not have known that.
Look, the situation is, dip your toes in the water. Okay. Go out and, force yourself to meet people. I run a lot of networking groups. I've had a lot of networking meetings that I have attended live and now virtual, obviously, for the last 2 years. But I could tell you, when you started surveying people, most people who come to networking events, they really don't want to be there. They're not happy about being there.
So really. True.
Okay. And, they're somewhat intimidated. Okay. I think it's out of nature. But when you think about it, if everyone else there is really uncomfortable and you're uncomfortable, well, as a group, starting talking to each other, extend a hand. Okay. Just dip your toes in it, welcome people.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
it just, when it used to be, when we used to shake hands, you didn't have to check if you shook hands with somebody if you still had 5 fingers. You still did. So nobody bites, and it's just easy to really just have some conversation. Um, what I suggest when you go to either the virtual meetings or the live meetings, you have what I call the W questions. Who, what, where, when, what, which. You want to ask questions that cannot really be answered by yes or no. And these lead to conversations. You know, what what made you come to tonight's event? What made you come to this, meeting? What do you what would you hope to accomplish in today's meeting?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, who would you like to speak with at today's meeting? Who would you like to meet? Who would you like to make have a relationship with? So when you start asking questions, it leads to conversations, and the conversations become easier and easier and easier. And I don't want to categorize yourself then as a extrovert, but just look at it that you are involved with different people and you are building relationships and you are eventually what we call networking. So not difficult. Don't be afraid.
I think the
Just
word networking is intimidating. I think the word scares people off, and yet it's all it comes down to is making new friends. Because
totally agree.
a new pizza place opens up around the corner from you, and you don't know whether to go there and buy a pizza or spend your money. If it's good pizza, good food, or if the service is good or whatever, you might ask a neighbor or your best friend, hey, I know they went there. What did they think of that new place down around the corner? And that's networking. So this is just networking for a job, networking for pizza, networking for a retail store. That's all you're doing is making friends and exchanging information so that you can move forward.
Networking equals relationships.
Yes.
That's what it is. And a lot of people, as you've said, they think about networking only when they're looking for a position. That is not the case, really. Networking is a way of life. That's how we communicate. All right. That's when we build relationships with people. And as you go through it, remember this: being in transition today is your permanent job. Landing is only temporary. The average individual in their career works for 7 different companies, today's statistics. Okay. So the things that you learn today in job search will help you not only land your current new position, but the position after that. Okay. Keep that in mind. What you want to look at is, when you land, you have this success, and then you're going to be looking for new successes along the way when you're in transition. Everybody lands. If you want to land, you will land. Everybody does. It might take a little more time. Okay. Some of that you can control along the way. The things you can control in your search, control them, manage them. The things you cannot control, let them go. Okay. You can't control them. Why waste your time and energy? Concentrate on things that you can do. When in transition, though, you must think strategically. Okay. It's what I call your yellow brick road. Okay. Where do you want to go? Okay. And you'll see that there's always a moment an opportunity for you to land. Always, when you talk to people, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're looking for the job when you're talking to these individuals. A lot of people talk about the situation that I had a number of years back. I worked for a company, and on Friday, my company, quote, reorganized me. And someone said, what the heck does that mean? It means that my job was eliminated. Okay. That was on Friday. On Saturday morning, I went to get my hair cut. I used to do that on a regular basis. Same woman would cut my hair. I went in to see Lori Saturday morning, and usual, how you doing, Marty? And I said, well, I'm okay, but it's not the greatest day. And she looked at me, what's the issue? I said, well, I was reorganized yesterday. And her eyes opened up. So what does that mean? I said, well, my job was eliminated. I'm now looking for another position. As I said that, I sat down in the chair. She took out her scissors and started cutting. We were talking as she was cutting my hair. She wanted to know exactly what did I do. She knew I was in finance. She didn't really know specifically things I did. And for the next, 25, 30 minutes, I told her what I did in my financial position as a CFO of a company. This is the person who's not an accountant. Okay. She was cutting hair for many years. At the end, she said, Marty, I have a client who's coming in later today. Would you mind if I told that person about, your situation? I said, nah, be my guest. And she did. Well, Monday, I got a call from one of her clients. He talked to me for a little while on the phone on Monday, invited me to see him on Tuesday in his office. He hired me by Friday. So you never know when opportunities will arise. So be prepared, everyone. Okay. And think strategically. Try to meet the people of influence as you go through this, especially now, POIs, people of influence. Just remember, as I said, always be connected and connecting. Okay. Connect with people that you currently know at least once a year. And it's not difficult to do that. And reach out and connect with new people every day. ABP. Always be positive and always be prepared. As I said earlier, negative and depressed people do not get hired. And be prepared, because opportunities could happen at any time. So think about it. Anytime, be prepared. That means you should have your elevator pitch down pat. Don't do it by rote. Think about the concepts and what you want to project to people. Tell them, well, I'm a marketing specialist who helps company do X, Y, whatever you want to call it. This is how I do it. Okay. So always be prepared, everyone. The opportunities can happen at any time. It could be that somebody on this call could help somebody else who's on this call find a position between now and New Year. And these two words here, in my opinion, you need to carry with you when you're in transition, or I think in life, really, because your actions generally are dependent upon the circumstances that exist. So think strategically as you go through this. And when it comes to networking, everyone, there's no rule book, no rules. Somebody says, well, there's rules. You have to have, your resume has to be 2 pages. Really? Who says? Who says your resume has to be 2 pages? Okay. I have a 1
He is
page.
the king of networking. Marty knows everything about networking, but Marty is also equivalent of it depends, right? So every time you hear it depends, you need to think of Marty Latman because they are one and the same. It's amazing.
Thank you very much, Christine. Think strategically, everyone, as you go through this. Just to recap what we talked about. We have the holiday myths that there's no hiring now. That is truly a myth, because today people are available to talk with you. They really are. Companies are ready to hire right now. They're really looking for people. They want to start the year off with a full staff. Budgets are in place. Okay. They want to get people. There's many people, many ways to connect with people today. You could do it virtually or you could do it live. Okay. Make sure you have your toolbox, your elevator pitch, your resume, your, LinkedIn profile, your marketing plan, get all that, your business cards. But remember your positive attitude. That's number 1 in the hit parade. You need that. Think strategically how you want to connect with people. Find something in common. When you have something in common with a person, it makes it a lot easier to connect. When you do your research on individuals, let's say who you will be interviewing with, and you're going to check their LinkedIn profile and you're going to check some other, Google searches, whatever. Okay. Most people only look at the people that they're going to connect with where they worked. Do yourself a favor. Look at the part, what interests these individuals. What's their interest? Who they follow? Okay, where they went to school. That information can be a bond with people who you network with, and it makes it really simple. Okay. You want to develop a strategy, okay, on how to work the room. Don't just show up. Know what you want to accomplish. Set your objectives, okay, and just do your follow-up. It's not just by meeting somebody on this call, listening to what I have to say and say, well, that was a great, presentation, or that was a lousy presentation, whatever you want to say, and just leave it like that. I'm here to help you. Okay. Take advantage of me. Okay. Connect with me. Let me know who you are. Okay. Maybe I could help you. Maybe I couldn't. But if anything, you could build a relationship. That's what counts. And spend time working to find your next job. Okay. Now is the time between Thanksgiving and the first week after New Year. Many people get hired. I keep track in one of my groups of the people who have landed. I started this group in 2002, and I have the names of people they landed, when they landed, and the companies they landed at. And going through that, I could tell you, I have many people who have landed between December 26th and January 3rd. A lot of people. So now's the time, everybody.
Absolutely. You are correct there.
Okay.
Yes.
Numbers don't lie. It's right there, everybody. I just want to wish everyone here a happy holiday. Enjoy it. If you've celebrated Hanukkah, enjoy. Hopefully you had a great time. Continue that. If you have Christmas or Kwanzaa, happy holidays to you. Celebrate with your family. tell them how much you love them. Okay, keep them, build your relationships with other people. Okay, now is a great time to connect. And I just want to thank you all for spending this time with me. If you want to connect with me, you could, here's my URL, my code here. You could, take a snapshot of that. Here's my Gmail, and here's my main LinkedIn where you could connect with me. And are there any questions?
Do we have any questions? I see happy holidays in the chat. I see a few LinkedIn addresses, but not all, not everyone. Some people are staying silent. And that's okay. You have to do what's comfortable for you, but I want you to connect so that you can meet people and maybe get introduced to other people. Great presentation. What do we got? Nothing. Come on, guys. Do we have any questions?
No questions, huh?
Take advantage of Marty being here because this is huge, and not that he ignores you, because he doesn't ignore you, but this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for you to ask any question you have. Anyone? Bueller? Okay.
Going once, going twice. Okay. It's
Happy
real
holidays,
interesting. I'm
everyone.
looking over here on the screen.
you.
I see Christine has the
Sure.
logs burning up in the behind her. It's really interesting to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. If you
Well,
don't have any
happy
other
holidays.
questions.
Thanks
I
for
will
letting.
send you
You're
the
welcome.
recording. I
Thank
hope that
you.
you play it back and
Sure.
just take some notes. And I do appreciate everyone attending this morning. And so